So here's the bottom line. You can't take care of your business if you don't take care of you. Want to learn more? Stay tuned. Welcome to the WorkHARDAholic Show with your host, the original WorkHARDaholic, Shirley Crawford, author, speaker, and small business consultant for over 20 years, helping you to work hard, play harder, and business better. Hello, and welcome back to WorkHARDaholics. Here I am, your host, the original WorkHARDaholic. And today, I'm really excited because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, gentlemen, before you tune out, this could also mean you. 1 in 100 men also have breast cancer. Pay attention. Okay, so to my left, your right, I have none other than Morgan Carey. That's right. Applause. Morgan, welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm amazed because we're here in Richmond, Virginia, and I always feel like it's a gigantic town. And so you think you know everyone, but this is my first time meeting Morgan. Yeah. And so honor and a privilege to have you here.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I always say Richmond is so small, so.
But
yeah.
It's not. I am coming into more circles where I don't know people.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed. Like things are changing somehow, hopefully for the better.
Yeah.
So in this new introduction that I'm glad to have to be able to meet you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Richmond, Virginia, so we, having this meeting and not knowing each other is strange, but Richmond, born and raised, and I love to do all kinds of things like fitness is my thing. I started fitness when I was in the Army. And so I got a really broad background. I speak Spanish. I always say for no reason at all. Because nobody in my family or anybody learned Spanish, but I did. And I wound up teaching Spanish and then teaching kids. And I've got this broad background where I went from teaching Spanish, going to the military. And now, I'm doing coaching. I've always had some aspect of coaching in my life. And so I just kind of brought that all together full circle once I had the breast cancer diagnosis and turned it into breast cancer coaching in order to help people who may be going through something like I've gone through.
I know. When I was looking at your information, I was like, I haven't seen these job titles, right, very often. Because there was bilingual human HR
resources.
director.
Yeah, I'm an HR director by day. A coach by night.
I was like, you want to ask me what it is by night? We weren't going there.
Yeah, coach by night. But there's always coaching in these aspects of things that you do. So, yeah.
And I was curious because I was looking at the groups. I didn't know how they all went together.
Yeah.
So you talked about coaching for those who haven't gone and read her bio and seen her information or following her online. You talk about coaching teachers and first responders.
Yeah.
I was like, how does the twain meet? How did that come together?
Yeah, because they're all kind of on what we call the front line, right? So teachers are every day, going here, teaching our kids, being basically on the front line of, taking care of our future, right? Because the children are our future, right? And so, but teachers get a lot of burnout. And I used to be a teacher, so I can speak from the experience. And I still work day to day in education. I work with teachers one-on-one, and burnout is the top of our conversation.
I believe
right?
it.
Yeah.
And so I can totally empathize from a distance. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be a teacher. Right? It was my number one burning desire until I watched parents interacting with teachers.
Yes.
And then administration not being all that supportive. I was just and their paycheck is not that special.
And the expectations can be just so high. And teachers are people too, and we need to rest. We need to rest, and we need to figure out how to juggle all of these things. And so the burnout is real because they're having a hard time doing those things. And then having the emotional support to come along with that really isn't there a lot of times. And so, again, it goes back to the expectations as if they're like machines. And so they have to deal with so many things. You deal with the expectations in the classroom, the academics that testing things that they're supposed to meet, and then they are dealing with
even more demanding with SOLs and other ridiculous criteria.
Exactly. And then they're dealing with the families, like dealing with the different dynamics of the parents or how their families are set up, and a lot of their personal problems come into the classroom and how they respond. And so teachers are like worn out a lot of times.
Shout out to all the teachers out there. We love you. We respect you. We thank you for what you do. If the parents haven't told you, if the kids haven't told you, thank you.
Yeah.
So I know for your coaching, life, love,
Love to Life.
Thank you.
Love to Life coaching. Yes, because everything comes back to love, right? You have to do things with love and interact with love and love your life. And so we coach you to try to get you back to there or help you stay there if that's a concern to you.
And when I looked at like the services that you offered, you talk a lot about communication.
Yeah. Communication is key. Communication really helps with your mental health, right? Because if there's a correlation between the two. If you're able to voice how you're feeling, you're able to actually say the things that you're thinking and not keep them bottled up, then it helps with your emotional and your mental health. The issue is sometimes we don't know how to say these things. We don't know, how to get them across, what questions to ask, and when that becomes a problem, you keep it inside. And then when you don't keep it inside and it comes out the wrong way, then you're ruining relationships or ruining connections. And that you don't want to do that either. And that's a detriment to your mental and emotional health. So if you can learn how to communicate certain things, it's really helpful.
I think that would be amazing. I think most people need a conversation on, I'm sure you can make this sound prettier than what I'm about to say, but on how to confront, like how to stand up for themselves, how to recognize someone else's opinion in the midst of a process. Like, so when I saw that, I was like, to me, that's like one of the biggest conversations that need to be had. People don't know how to communicate.
They don't know how to communicate. And one of the things I'm going to add there is how to deal with yourself while you're dealing with someone else, right? What is the story that I'm telling myself about this interaction? Because if you're already you're embodying whatever you think this other person is coming to you with, or what they might mean or what they might be thinking, you're already telling yourself that while you're confronting, right? And so that's the place from which you're confronting them, but they may not be thinking that at all. They may not be coming at you in a way that you feel that they are. So it's kind of like you have to deal with yourself while you're dealing with another person.
I would just shout, facts. Because I remember when we had, there was one of those psychology courses that we had to take, and we were talking about how eyewitness testimony is really terrible and not very helpful, because everybody comes to it with their own lens of the situation before anything happens. And there was this case in particular. There was an older Caucasian woman who was testifying. She had seen like a mugging or something happen like right before her. And so she was describing the assailant, and she described an African-American young male, and like he was tall, blah, blah, blah. They caught the guy who did it. Didn't look anything like that. Caucasian, short, like totally an opposite. But it's like in your mind's eye, who would be doing this? So that's what she described. And so I was like, this is crazy. But so much in line with what you're saying. Like we communicate from where we are.
Exactly.
Okay. I know you all want to hear more. Don't worry. There is more. And we're really going to talk a little bit more about Breast Cancer Awareness Month and things you need to be aware of, things you should be paying attention to, and how you can be a support in the cause right after this commercial break.
Life can be a struggle. Find hope, healing, and answers at the Abundant Life Church of Christ, a place to encounter God through uplifting worship, singing, prayer, the preach word, and fellowship. One step can change your life. One step could shift your destiny. There has never been a better time to take that step than now. Come be our guest every Sunday at 10 a.m. at the Abundant Life Church of Christ, a place where you belong.
Listen, Attorney Alex Taylor is a soldier in a suit, defending anyone with criminal charges, DUIs, and more. Call Alex Taylor, your soldier in a suit, at 804-500-5000.
I'm Alex Taylor. Don't face your criminal charges alone. Put a former prosecutor with 30 years of experience on your side. Let me show you how a soldier fights for your freedom.
Call 804-500-5000 or go to alextaylorlaw.com.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Okay. So for those of you who are just tuning in, where were you? What happened? Why are you just getting here? All right. But anyway, come along. We're very happy to say that we have Morgan Carey with us here. And I want to make sure I say it right. Love to Life.
Love to Life coaching.
Thank you. All right. Love to Life coaching. And so we've been talking about a little bit about you, the who's behind the magic curtain making it all happen. And now I know that you do some very specific work and champion some things with breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
And so especially as we are in the midst of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, would you mind sharing some of your story?
Yes, I don't mind at all. So I always feel like breast cancer was almost like a cloud in my life. I was, if you read my site, if you had a chance to go to my site and you go to the About Us and you talk about who is Morgan Carey, in that story, I have a very specific sentence that says I was born to a dying mother because my biological mom was diagnosed with breast cancer while she was pregnant with me. Long story short, the doctors told her that in order to treat her breast cancer, she would have to abort her pregnancy. Well, obviously she didn't because I'm sitting here talking with you. But so she decided she wasn't going to do that. She was going to figure it out after she had her baby. And once she figured it out, the breast cancer had spread and they tried to treat her, but it was, too far gone. And so I think the strength of the chemo, and this is back in the 80s. So the chemo was totally different then than it is now. And so she lasted for about 2 years and then she passed and I was a baby. And my father, a year or so after that, he wound up marrying a really wonderful woman who I call my mother. We don't use the phrase step in my household. So I call her my mother. She raised me, wonderful mom. And so when I always felt like it was going to happen to me to get breast cancer. I don't know why. I remember at 12 years old, I asked my dad, do you think, it just kind of hit me. I was like, do you think the same thing that happened to my mom is going to happen to me? And back then they were still saying that it wasn't genetic. Now they're not saying that anymore, right? But back then they were saying it wasn't genetic. And he told me, we asked when you were born, they said, no, it's not genetic. Fast forward a few years later, I'm going to the doctor and they're like, have you ever been tested for the breast cancer gene? And so I wouldn't go get tested for it because I felt like, well, what are you going to do once you find it? Kind of felt like they were going to find it. So I was like, well, what are you going to do when you're going to find it? Do I have to make a decision on a surgery or something like that? What are we going to do? They said, well, just keep monitoring it and you could try to have a mastectomy then. And I was like, well, I'm probably not going to volunteer for a surgery. I think I'm just going to pray and hope. And then a few years after that, I found a lump. And in the midst of that time, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother actually passed away in her 80s from breast cancer. A first cousin on the same side got diagnosed with breast cancer. So I felt like breast cancer was kind of closing in on me, still going on about my life. I found a lump on my own, right? I had been getting mammograms since I was 29, 38 years old. I find this lump and I'm like, no, that's not what it is. I start like, it's not that at all. I mean, and after I went down this rabbit hole of Google of how it could be or couldn't be, yeah. I did that for about a month. And then about a half a month went by before I went to the doctor. I waited. So part of my advocacy is telling people, do not wait.
Do not.
If you feel the lump.
That's all I was thinking was,
go.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Do not wait. Because you honestly don't know how much time it's going to be even after you find the lump before you get checked out. So don't wait to go to the doctor. A blessing for me at that time was that the team that I had, they moved really quickly. So right after I found out about the lump on a Wednesday, I was in the doctor's office on a Friday. No, I found out that it was cancerous on a Wednesday. I was in the breast surgeon's office on a Friday, and I was on the operating table for the mastectomy the next Friday.
Oh, wow.
So it was about 7 or 8 days in between the time that they gave me the news. And
those days make a difference in like you being here or not being here.
They really do. My team was awesome. So don't wait. And if you feel something, go. And the doctors now are, I'm hearing some studies where they're saying that they're not recommending people to do self-breast checks. And so,
really?
Yeah, because they're saying that it's leading to unnecessary procedures. the self-checks. Yeah, the article came out in
That makes no
September.
sense to
It
me.
makes no sense to me either.
Because historically, the problem has been is that women aren't checking.
Yeah, and now,
then they're doing exactly what you did because
Yeah.
of misinformation or lack of information.
Yes.
They're taking no action,
Yes.
and then we end up with everybody being going in for the first time and already
already
being stage
stage
4,
four.
which
Absolutely.
is so far late into the game.
Yeah. So I love to tell my story because I found my lump myself for a person that's been getting mammograms for at least like 10 years before that, And so but the mammogram didn't necessarily miss it. It was timing. That's why you have to do it all, So yeah, that's a little bit about my story. And then right after I found the lump and I did a double mastectomy. And then about a month after recuperation, after a month, I started chemotherapy and I did about 14 sessions of that. And that was tough.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember my care team was awesome. I remember my breast surgeon told me that I know you're scared, but this is survivable and we can get through this. So
it sounds to me like you are the legacy of your mother.
Yeah.
And so even in the work that you're doing, it's all a legacy towards that. Tell us a little bit more about what support you offer with regards to breast cancer.
Yeah, so my breast cancer survivor program it's about fitness after breast cancer, right? So I told you before I'm into fitness. I was already into fitness. I was already a fitness instructor. Yeah, I've done the fitness instructor and group instruction and everything. And so, it's not just about exercise. That's a big chunk of it because, there's studies that show that exercise, regular aerobic exercise and strength training really helps to fight reoccurrence with breast cancer. Well, but it's more than that. It's eating, healthy eating advice. I don't do meal prepping. People ask me that. I don't plan your meals for you.
We won't ask.
But I do meal advise, right? And talk about some things that really helped me during my recovery. And I just give it to other people. And that's a part of the assignment, right? And letting them know, everybody's case is different. Everybody's breast cancer diagnosis is different. But I just want to share some things that really helped me with being strong during chemo. And I think which helped with the recovery, right? And then helps me continue to fight the possibility of recurrence. And then the emotional support as well, because not everybody has a support system, right? Mm-hmm. So I talk about a lot the importance of a support system, because when you get diagnosed with something like this, the first thing you really want to do is isolate. A lot of times we just kind of want to be by ourselves, but I encourage people, don't do that. Fight it as much as you can, because people who are healthy, that seem healthy to you during a time when you seem really, really sick or may be really, really sick, it can be annoying, right? Because you're like, well, I want to be doing what you're doing, and you're sending me pictures of you on the beach, But people want to help, and they a lot of times don't know how to help, but let them try, And so I talk about the importance of not pushing your support system away, because you will need it, and it helps with the mental health, and it helps with your physical health, and it just helps you to try to recuperate a little bit faster.
So for everyone who's out there who's listening or watching, and they're looking for that support system, mm-hmm. they're looking for a connection, they're looking for someone to talk to when they're not sure what should be happening next, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so a lot of times people are reaching out to me on my social media. I am on Instagram, LL_Coach_Morgan. I'm also on Facebook as MJCEE. But people are also emailing mcarey@lovetolifecoach.com.
And that's the website, lovetolifecoach.com.
Lovetolifecoach.com. You go to the website and you'll get it all. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know you have some events coming up.
Yeah.
Let them know. They want to connect. Let them know.
So I have this one event coming up very soon. I'm going to be on a panel, a women's empowerment event by Team Fever. It's in Northern Virginia. So it is free to the public. So please go to my website so you can get all the location details and how to get there and how to register for the event.
All right. Yeah. All right. Now, we brought you the information you all needed. There's so much more you can be learning. Here is an amazing resource that you can utilize. So you can go to lovetolife.com LL_coach.
LL Coach _Morgan.
That's why you got to hear it from her, not from me. All right. So thank you again, Morgan, for joining us. And we're hoping that you all are taking this time to self-examine. I don't care what the stat says. Go get your mammograms. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And men, if you're watching, think about your wife, your sister, your auntie. Think about the women in your life, but also get yourself checked because you are not excluded. All right. So once again, thank you, Morgan, for joining us. And hopefully we'll get to hear more about what's going on with her. And we'll be back after this commercial break. Ladies, are you looking to move your office from your kitchen table to a space of your own? Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Are you looking for co-working and community? Well, then come join us at the Women's Business Center, RVA, located at 1510 Willow Lawn Drive, Suite 100, directly across the street from the Kroger at Willow Lawn. Visit us on the web at wbcrva.com or on social media at WBCRVA.
Wouldn't it be convenient and safe to communicate with your dentist, pediatrician, medical doctor, or mental health professional anywhere you are without actually traveling to our medical centers?
Well, you can with a televisit at your local Capital Area Health Network. Call us at 780-0840 or go to cahealthnet.org. Find out how a televisit may be your best option. We are the Capital Area Health Network, the heart of the community.
Welcome back again. Okay, so today we've been talking about breast cancer awareness and health and, of course, taking care of yourself, because you can't take care of your business if you aren't taken care of, right? So like this past weekend, we had a bit of a health scare with one of my family members. And it really has caused me just to focus back in again on making sure that we take care of ourselves. And also, as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, what does it mean to you? What does it mean for you if you have to enact the FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act? If you have an employee who has to be out of the office because of pregnancy or cancer or anything else, like what does that mean for your business? So I want to go back and talk just a little bit about healthcare and the expectations of an employer. So we all know a few years ago, we got Obamacare, we got the Affordable Care Act. And so we had lots of conversations about what that meant as an individual. Like, did that mean that our drugs were going to skyrocket? Or what it meant for our health care? Could we keep our doctors? Like, what did it mean? So we've had some time to reflect upon that. But have you really thought about what it means for you as an employer? Interestingly enough, there were a plethora of cases of employees who were trying to do some, shady things to avoid having to pay for healthcare. Right? Welcome to America. And so we had lots of individuals who were like, oh, I don't have 50 employees. And why is that? Why is that the magic number? Because if you are an employer and you have 50 employees or more, you are obliged, you are obligated. It is mandatory. It is required. Let's skip jail time, people. Follow the rules. You are required to provide health care for your employees. I'm not going to kid you. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. But once again, if you consider this, the same way for you, if you stay healthy and you take care of your health, you can work more. You can be more productive. You can do more things. It's the same for your employees. If you're taking care of your employees and making sure that they're taking the credit for good health visits, did you know there's such a thing? There are activities that you can do that your insurance will give you credit for and benefits to you for because you did things that were proactive. So if you have more employees who are being proactive about their health, the better it is for your bottom line. So once again, the first thing to know is that if you have 50 employees or more, you are obligated by the federal government to provide healthcare benefits. Now, for a lot of us small business owners, we're like, we barely pay ourselves, let alone others. But I believe in you. The more you watch this show, the more I know that you're going to succeed and prosper, and you're going to get to the point where you have that 50 employees. So be prepared. Okay. And then some of you go, well, even at 50, I don't have 50 full-time employees. The federal government has cracked down on that. So there were lots of employers out there who, once again, were concerned more about the bottom line than about their employees. And so they were cutting everyone back, or they were saying that they had 1099 contractors and not employees. Okay. And the federal government, Uncle Sam, nobody fool. Sorry, just so you know. So they crack down on that, even on the requirements. So for those of you who are like, I have contractors, not employees, I'm going to give you this example very quickly because I have more information to share. If you think of your employee the same way as if you hired a plumber. When you hire a plumber, you bring them in, you show them the situation, you show them what the problem is. They use their wisdom, their tools, and they tell you what's it going to cost to get it done, what they require, and that's all. You don't get to have any other feedback about how they do what they do outside of telling them, this is when the house is open, you can come in and you can go and get to the sink or whatever it is it needs to have work done. If you have someone working for you and you're telling them more information than that, they are an employee. If you're telling them what time to arrive, if you're telling them how to do the job, if you're telling them what equipment to use, they are an employee, not a contractor, and the federal government frowns upon that. Another way when it comes to healthcare that they've cracked down on that is that they say full-time. We think full-time is 40 hours. No, a one FTE, a one full-time employee is 30 hours. Hello. 30 hours or more, and they're considered full-time by the federal government when it comes to insurance and healthcare benefits. So if you're saying, I got a bunch of part-time employees, if they work 30 hours or more, the federal government says, we're not hearing you, we're not having that. 30 hours or more, and they're considered full-time. What else do you need to know? Well, of course, what does it cost you? That's the bottom line. Because, for most of us, we're in the US of A, we're all about the bottom line. We're trying to make money hand over fist. And so we're going, I got to pay these extra expenses. Well, it's time for you to prepare to know what they are. So the average cost of healthcare insurance for an individual is $659 a month. I pause because even as I say it, that feels like that it's a chunk of change. And you would hope that it's split between you and the individual. And it is, but the onus of most of the plan is on the employer, not the employee. So the employee pays, I think it's 17%. On average, the employee pays like $111, and the company pays $549 per month per employee, which I'm not going to lie, it stacks up, but that's the way it works. Okay. And the other thing to know is that even for your part-time employees, that if they are working, so here we go saying, my part-time employees, they're only scheduled to work 20 hours a week. But if they're working OT, if they're working overtime, they're doing the extra time where they're the equivalent of a full-time employee, then you will have to pay for their insurance as well. So for those of you out there going, I'm ready to build my $1 million, multi-million, billion-dollar business, it requires staff. So make sure you're including those numbers into your bottom line, your budget, your P&Ls, so that you can actually grow your company the right way. Because once again, healthy employees means that you have a healthier product, a healthier service, and a healthier business. Okay, so that's all that we're sharing with you all for today. So once again, as we always like to say, live better, do better, be better, and happy entrepreneuring. Ta-ta! Like, share, subscribe, repeat. Like, share, subscribe, repeat. 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 Thanks for tuning in to WorkHARDaholics. Support our show by following on YouTube and all major social media platforms at WorkHARDaholic. Until next week, happy entrepreneuring.